Well, hey everybody. Hey YouTube. It's Chuck. Well, it finally happened. I got FSD 12.5. I don't have 12.5.1 yet, but to get 12.5, I had to go buy a new car. I'm in my 2024 Model Y that we just got today. Picked it up at 1 o'clock. I was able to get my HDMI screen installed. I was able to get my chassis and my vehicle CAN bus servers installed. I was able to get my camera mounted inside, my camera mounted outside, and my HDMI extract recorder also working, all to try to make a video for you guys today. In any case, listen, I'm not so vain I'd go buy a car just to get FSD. There was a whole lot more to it than that. My son was looking to get a Model Y, and ours was 4 years old, and it just kind of worked out that, you know, with the prices on the market and with FSD, it was better for him just to buy that car from us than for and us to get another car than for him to go into the open market and try to find another used car. We did use Key Savvy, and a thumbs up for Key Savvy if nobody's ever heard of that. For private transactions, they were able to get him the EV tax credit because he does qualify, and I priced it right at the maximum, so he was able to get that $4,000 used EV tax credit. So thumbs up to Key Savvy for making that transaction nice and smooth. In any case, this is the old news. You guys have probably seen 12.5 videos. Apparently it's running really, really good with some small nuances out there. But hey, let's do the Memorial Park First Impressions Drive, and let's see if we get 12.5.1 in the next few days. When I picked this up from the service center, it had V12.5 on it. So if anybody was listening when I was requesting to add this car, thank you for listening. So anyway, here we go. We're going to go out and start with an unprotected left-hand turn, and we'll do the first impressions drive that kind of loops around. Anyway, here we go. Enjoy it. Starting off with the unprotected left. I do have to say, I miss my ultrasonic sensors. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about that here in a second. Let's see how this creep works. Hardware 4 needs to stop right there. Okay, we got a lot of traffic coming. But this is a good spot. As long as it just sits here, we're good. We're wide open to the right, so it's all traffic from the left. It looks like it's going to have a great open spot here in just a few seconds, and if it patiently waits, it's going to be just a roller. I feel just a tiny little bit of a nudge, and 2 more cars. There's 1, there's 2. It should go, and it should roll straight through the median. I didn't feel a strong question mark there. Did you guys see a question mark? I don't think I really did. So I'm not sure. I'm going to go ahead and edit the trip to create the U-turn. Let's see how quickly this does it. Very quickly. So there's the U-turn. Pay attention to the road, Chuck. All right. I'll leave that on the map there just for you guys can see how it's doing. And this is Sunday afternoon at about 4:45 p.m. So this is going to be light traffic. Maybe some just small congestion spots. All right. Looks like here we've got a little, you can see out the front of the camera, probably got quite a bit of traffic coming, kind of sparse. And then I do already see the gap down there that's wide open after 3 more cars. So we got the truck, and here we go. We got the Model S, and then a white SUV, and it should go for it. Oh God, wow, it pre-rolled. That was a nice pre-roll. It did slow down the pre-roll. Very good U-turn. That was good. I really like that. So away we go. I tell you what, this refresh in this Model Y, as compared to the original 2020 Model Y, is really nice. The console is much better. This is not any new news for you guys. I'm just saying, me sitting in this car, it feels very, very nice and well done. It's still a Model Y. It still doesn't have an air suspension like the Cybertruck and the other vehicles that have the air suspension, but it is... It's good to have the new car smell, I guess. I'll just say it that way. Nice. That was a no-brainer. It wasn't going to run that yellow or go anything like that. There have been some yellow light issues, I guess I've seen, where the behavior changed a little bit in 12.5 from 12.4. We'll see if that happens here. Looks like the plot is going the right direction for us. I really am liking the way the no-nag has been implemented. It feels... Now, I don't have sunglasses on right now. I'm just wearing my cheaters here. So I don't have to test or do any of that, but that is still coming, I believe, in a future version, not 12.5, this first cut. but it feels like they've got the right balance of paying attention to the road, allowing you to look at the screen. When you are at intersections, you know, you can have your head on a swivel looking left and looking right for cross traffic, and it kind of understands that that's what you should be doing there, and that feels good. Now, even though here in 0.6 miles, we're taking a left-hand turn, it's sitting here in the right lane at 50 miles an hour with Automax set. So a little 5 over here, and I believe I do in my autopilot settings have 5 miles per hour set there if it's taking it from that. I'm gonna bump that up to 10 just to see if that changes anything. I don't think it will there. I was gonna say, I'd start getting over, because if it was busier, you should have already gotten over by now. You kind of see here this intersection with a light and a turn lane. It's kind of taking its time. You know, I'm not gonna criticize, because maybe it knows it can take its time with what it sees around it. That's fine. Now it needs to get in the left lane. Good. All right, so this is the, now it's a flashing yellow, and you can probably see straight ahead after these cars. It's gonna be wide open. It's not gonna have to find a gap. It never even stopped there, just a slow roll. Railroad tracks, right here, that was not, hell, it went over them very smoothly at 19. It didn't feel like it slowed down for them, but maybe it just never over accelerated because it knew they were there. Either way, 19 was fine. Didn't feel too rough there. Got a hedge off to the left. It needs to do a creep here. Pay attention to the road, Chuck. We do have a cyclist up on the other side of the road. Now notice how I'm looking left and right, and it's okay with me doing that. Cyclist here, and a person mowing their lawn right on the edge of the road here. Let's just kind of, I'm gonna throw up the rear cameras just so you can kind of see what it does here. It's definitely going around. Definitely gave her more room, which is great. Yeah, this Birkenhead Road, haven't had any major issues with path or anything since version 12. It seems the end-to-end neural networks kind of solved using the full lane. A little bit of trash on the side of the road there. I'm glad it wasn't hugging that. A speed bump right here. It looks like it missed. Yeah, went over that one at 27. And I am noticing I don't have my snapshot button anymore. FSD team, if you're watching, I'd love to have my snapshot button back. I'm glad I'm on the early release, but snapshot button was kind of great to have. All right, let's see if the next speed bump here gets any attention, and it does. There it is. It's slowing down for that one. All right, so next one is a unprotected left into a suicide lane, which of course it does not really treat as any sort of median. It needs it to be clear left and right here. Pay attention to the road, Chuck. I'm looking at the screen a lot. I'm gonna just give it a good eyes front there. Looking left for traffic. Looks like we got 3 or 4 cars, and it's pretty wide open to the right. But we do have this car in the median now, and this gap kind of closed off quickly. So yeah, it's gonna have to wait a little bit. These gaps were kind of closing up quickly because of fast approaching cars, but it's waiting just right. Some opposing traffic from the right now, which might spoil this, because after this Jeep, we're wide open, and now we should go all the way. Yep. Is it gonna use the suicide lane at all? Didn't touch the suicide lane, so that was perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and edit this. Busting, pay attention to the road, Chuck. I did just change the lane very quickly, and I'm gonna get it over here because I screwed that up. I want it to go this way. See if it's readjusted, and it has. It did it very quickly. So that disengagement was me forcing the route. I wasn't able to delete that waypoint quick enough after that turn. So now this is just going to be a protected left. But here you can see the bicyclist right in front of us. And the controlling light is blue. Just going to wait on the green arrow here. I do have a larger truck to the right of me now that's kind of blocking the view to the right. Kind of see that a little bit. And a protected green arrow here. Yeah, this is smooth. You know, everybody that's driven this has used those words: smooth, confident, and I guess even the screw ups are smooth when they happen occasionally. Whether it goes into the wrong turn lane or the planner kind of interferes, it just feels like everything is kind of smooth rather than erratic at the last second, which is great to see. I think that this end-to-end neural network is really starting to pay dividends as they get the model right. And when I say the model, you know, this version we're running here has reportedly 5x the parameters. So obviously it just has a lot more ability to hold data or compress reality, as Elon has been saying recently, or, you know, essentially, you know, you take all scenarios and give iterations of them for making decisions on the fly. You know, the number of parameters is a little like the number of neurons in your brain, right? The more neurons, the more interactions you can have that can create situations. That's not a perfect analogy, and those of you that are experts in this field might disagree with me, but effectively, the more neurons, the more parameters, the more ability you have of getting additional resolution for, I guess, smoothness, additional scenarios, and perhaps just making better decisions. So it will be interesting to see what happens to Hardware 3. I didn't ditch Hardware 3 just because of this version coming out on Hardware 4 first, but I am of the opinion that that the Hardware 3 version will never be what Hardware 4 is. I definitely think it's going to get version 12.5, maybe even 12.6 and beyond, in an optimized version, as the words they're using now. But I don't know if it's going to be robo. You know, the fact that we're already starting to see differences in performance, it'll, I guess, just depend on the ability of them to optimize and compress the models so that they give the same amount of performance at lower compute. But that is the way these models are apparently going to be going after we kind of start getting the data sets right and the models more optimized, that you just won't need the same amount of compute to get the same outcomes. But your time's going to tell on that one. You know, the life cycle of a car or the ownership of a vehicle, you know, to say whether or not it's the life cycle of a warranty or the ability of people to keep them in good shape without getting into an accident or what, you know, we're starting to approach the life cycle of a car, or at least the average life of a car, you know, without getting some of the features that people thought they were getting. Definitely on the MCU2, Hardware 2 and 2.5 vehicles, you know, you're kind of getting up there in years, and the compute you've got on that just isn't what it was when it first came out. So it feels kind of like by the time this gets to robo, maybe the earlier cars, the life cycle just won't allow them to kind of be put, or at least are they going to spend the capital and the regulatory approval time on hardware that it is aging so quickly, you know, on that end of the spectrum. That's my thought. You know, the longer it takes to get to robo, the less likely it's going to be backwards compatible to be driverless. It's probably going to be great for supervised, and they're going to continue to support that, I bet, as best they can. But driverless, they're probably going to have to decide at some point where that fork is. Whether or not it's Hardware 4, Hardware 5, and the robo dedicated, that's what I personally believe. I think we're going to need the dedicated robo platform. Elon is definitely not talking that way. He's talking like, you know, Hardware 4 is going to be able to do it. And I think that the Hardware 4 will probably be able, in most drives, be able to be unsupervised. I just don't know if it's going to be qualified to be driverless, without a driver in the seat to take over with the way the SAE levels are and getting approval. But that's all to be determined, how that's going to play out. You know, we'll see. I definitely think we're going to get to the point where you're just definitely not doing much in the driver's seat, if anything, other than taking over when the car says it can't do anymore. Do have a cyclist here on the right, one of the three-wheel low riders. Gave them a little bit of extra room there. Gosh, I tell you, this drive's been so smooth, it just lets me talk. I'm not even having to talk about the issues because I haven't seen any issues yet. Coming up on our first little roundabout here, we'll see if we get into a little bit of traffic here or not. Doesn't look like we're going to get any interactions here, so let's just see how it handles the yield. Okay, it's treating it like a stop there, and it gave that red car right away when we very easily could have taken that, but it treated it like a stop. That's fine. It was smooth. It started rolling very quickly after he went through. And then this next one, we're just going to go around to the right and then do the S curves. Yeah. Wow. The lane selection, the centering of the lane, the things that's what I'm talking about, where it is in the lane and how it's going around these curves aren't giving me any sort of pause about, right now getting curbed or anything like that. It doesn't mean it can't happen. And those of you that are new to FSD, or perhaps you're getting FSD 12.5 for the first time, and as my son drove off in FSD 12.4.3, I was just telling him, hey, listen, don't trust it. If it's getting too close to a curb, don't hit the I believe button there. Save your rims, save your car, because it occasionally has just crept over a little bit too much. So it's hard to know when to say when. As a supervisor is what we're calling ourselves now, not really a beta tester any longer. S curve here working great. I'm going to go ahead and edit the next point, get it out of there. Speeds have felt fine so far for me. I haven't been paying that much attention to the speed versus the actual speed limit. I know Chris Dirty Tesla has been talking about it going 10 over, so specifically in a 25. And I agree that's too much, especially in areas where it's patrolled. I agree, 25 is hard to do, but if it's 25, it's probably that way for a reason. All right, so slowing down for the lead car here, kind of opened up nicely, a little bit of room in front of us, so we're not exactly following the lead car. Car approaching from the right. We have the right of way, but boy, that was really close to that median sign. It didn't seem like it was giving it much room. Lots of cars to the right and to the left that could be backing out at any time here. Usually I'm looking for white reverse lights. I don't know if the car has the capability of doing that yet, just seeing the light colors. It may be just waiting on movement. Didn't get too much of a pedestrian interaction here in Avondale, but that was nice and smooth. It was this little pedestrian sign I was saying it was getting pretty close to on that last one, because the last one was leaning over a little bit, and I was afraid it was getting a little close to the side mirror here. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to guess. I have to change up the route a little bit. Give some mix-up drives here. Go some other locations. That article in Business Insider that came out a few weeks ago, I was quoted in it. They called me and asked me for comment, and I don't make comments for many articles unless I truly feel I'm going to be represented accurately. And the reporter that contacted me made me feel comfortable that I was going to be represented accurately, and I do feel like what I said was accurately portrayed. The fact that we have ADAS operators in my neighborhood is a little hard to argue with. The fact that they're working on something that I'm posting on YouTube to make it right. I don't know that they're working on my turn so much to make it right because I'm posting on YouTube, as much as what Elon said at one of the shareholder meetings was, thank you for giving us a hard problem to solve. It's just proven to be a good litmus test for the progress. High-speed cross-traffic in any scenario is just tough, and I guess we've just kind of established this as a benchmark to come out and drive. I've got this camera set up to look for ADAS operators every single day, and they were out here until Friday, and bam, on Saturday morning, if 12.5.1 didn't go out to some drivers, which was great. I know Chris has it, AI Driver has it, a handful of others do. So I guess they were validating that. They could be validating further versions. Still have not seen a Cybertruck yet. I'm going to be really excited when I see a Cybertruck validating it, assuming they're going to use a Cybertruck to do the work. They've done it for every other vehicle, so I don't know why they wouldn't. All right, looks like we got a green arrow here at the hospital intersection, and it should roll right into the right lane. Smooth as butter. Yep, and then a nice right turn here. Looks like the red light's going to be red at that time, so it'll be a right on red if it decides to go after a full stop there. Yep, set back on its wheels a little bit. Nice. That was great. I tell you what, this could be a robo-taxi ride for sure. As long as the car picked me up at the curb and it's going to drop me off at the curb. It doesn't really have the beginning and ending of these drives yet. Flashing yellow. Okay. All right. This is I'd be hitting the snapshot button. I'm going to disengage just for the marker there. Stopped at flashing yellow light. So that's been documented several times on this build. A flashing red too. So, flashing yellow is proceed with caution. The other side has a flashing red. So it didn't do that in 12.4.3. I've tested that before. So that was the first one. We do have 2 more yellow lights on the way back. It'll be interesting to see if it treats those the same or not. This is the road with a few potholes. Looking for it to dodge them. I don't feel like it is. Manhole covers. It's rolling right over them. It's not kind of going around. You even got this car up here kind of encroaching on the yellow line. I don't know why it's doing that other than maybe to give these parked cars traffic. Big potholes right here, and it went straight through them. So definitely no pothole avoidance in this build yet. Let's see what happens here. Right here is where it stopped in 12.4.3, or one of the 12.4 versions if you remember, and it proceeded only after I hit the accelerator. All right, so see if I've got this point mapped correctly in my new route here to take the right turn at Memorial Park, and then we'll do a little bit of reverse parking. I got to get used to this vision assist. I miss my ultrasonic sensors. I just got to tell you, I don't. Maybe it's a crutch or something. Ooh, pedestrians here. This is great. Stopping, waiting, perfect interaction for pedestrians. Just patiently waiting, blinker on. Obviously, if somebody was coming from behind me, got some more pedestrians up front here. Needs to kind of give them a lot of room. I'd be giving them more room. Yeah, it went over. I'd have gone over sooner. Pedestrians, they're coming off the river here. So let's see. It's telling me navigation complete, but I don't want it to complete here. I want it to go to where that dot is, and I want it to continue and see where it'll go to park. Is it going to continue on around? See, there's a chain right here. So I'm pressing the accelerator just a little bit, but I am going to just do a little bit of a park here. See the P? There it is. I'm going to press that one. We're going to start. Nobody's coming from behind. And I'll give you the full view here. All right, looks like it's doing a good job. I don't know. Did you see the wipers just wipe? What was that about? I thought auto wipers were fixed. That was weird. Okay, that was good. The visuals and stuff like that. This is Quicksilver, oh, by the way. If you didn't know, I think I posted a picture of it, but I love this Quicksilver color. All right, so let's see. We're going to go ahead and FSD return, continue trip. See if it'll just give me my steering wheel from here. I'm in drive. Is he going to do it? I got it. There it is. All right, let's creep out a little. Oh, I want it to go right. I want it to go right. Maybe I need to force this a little bit. There we go. It's got that great intersection up here with a big oak tree, and I wanted to continue to test that with where it creeps on this version. Unnecessary blinker there. There is no other way to go. The road just kind of curves around. Not sure why it did that. All right. So up here at the stop sign, the visibility is not at the creep limit. The visibility is before the creep limit. You see that big oak tree? I talk about this every single time, but I do repeat myself because some people don't watch every video. There's the NHTSA stop. Now it needs to creep forward and use the B-pillar to look right now. If you went to that creep limit, you'd be looking through that oak tree. So right here is the perfect spot, which is where it's launching from, which is exactly what it should be doing. I don't know how they programmed that or if it was just it realized it could see what it needed to see, and it waited there. That's great. But it put the creep limit, as far as it can go before it hit the lane. So that creep limit diagram definitely is some sort of limit, rather than perhaps the optimum visibility location that it determines on the fly. Another big manhole cover there. I don't know if you can hear or feel, or maybe even on my CAN bus data, if it's working. I hopefully haven't tested this yet. CAN bus data off the new Model Y. I think the vehicle and the chassis bus stayed the same in this car, so I'm kind of going with that assumption. Hopefully all of the message labels and everything like that are the same. I don't need to download a new database there. If not, I'll work on it and try to fix it. All right, this route looks good. We are going to take a little bit of a left turn there. Pay attention to the road, Chuck. So see how long it gave me there? That's fine. I was playing with the screen quite a long time before it actually nagged. Have I had a disengagement yet? Yeah, yes. The flashing yellow. I disengaged for the marker. Here's the flashing yellow going the other way. Look at this. Interestingly, it didn't stop. So exact same intersection going the other direction, it didn't stop. So maybe it was a traffic scenario with the flashing yellow. So perhaps, I think there was a car coming from the right that it essentially was waiting on. Interesting. It's choosing a different route than it normally does. It did in the previous. Look at that guy taking a left turn from the right lane. Tesla's probably like, I'm not allowed to do that. Why do you get to do that? So we're essentially going back the same way we came through Avondale, which is great because we're going to get a lot of pedestrian interactions again, probably. Very smooth acceleration curve there. It's aggressive, but it's not, I don't feel the punch in the back. Now, I do have to say, this is an all-wheel drive Model Y. I did not get the performance. My 2020 was a performance, so I guess I do need to, I'm driving in, what mode am I driving in here? Dynamics. I'm in standard. I used to leave my performance in chill. I don't know that doesn't affect FSD. I've told you guys that for years. Flashing yellow, here we go. Interesting. They did that fine. So I think that flashing yellow previously was the interaction of the car that had the flashing red, and it was treating it sort of like a four-way stop rather than a flashing yellow scenario. I guess is my guess there. Lots more Teslas on the road these days, guys. I don't know. They're everywhere here. I mean, there are more of them in California than there are here in Florida, but they really have taken off. Yeah, I don't know. This is a landmark build. There's no doubt about it. Guys, this does not change my opinion on B-pillar location, and drives like this aren't really about B-pillar location as much as, perhaps high-speed cross-traffic and unprotected lefts. And I'm getting more and more confident that they're going to be able to either reroute or be patient and wait until there's a large opening, and solve those scenarios to perhaps be unsupervised. Driverless? I don't know. I'm still thinking the answer is no, but nobody from Tesla is starting to say that yet. We've got some leaks on the robotaxi hardware. That one car, the Model 3 that they had cameraed up maybe for the robotaxi platform, looks like they were moving the B-pillars back, but it did have a bumper camera. So whether or not that bumper camera was being used for lateral visibility, we don't know. Cybertruck has a bumper camera, but it's definitely not used for lateral visibility. It's just a parking camera to take out the blind spot in front of the bumper, which is a true blind spot, and specifically after the car shuts down. You could argue that as long as you're approaching, it can have memory and remember what's in front of it. But when you start a car, or the recall is long enough that you can't remember what was there, based on the number of tokens you can address. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to solve that in cars without a bumper camera, other than just kind of do the best they can with the slow creep and the granny drive, you know, backing out into blind spots and just hope that somebody sees you. This is that sign I was talking about before that was leaning, and I thought it was going to hit it. This way, this direction, it was leaning away from us. I have had no need to put my hand on the wheel. Not that I don't think I should be close to the wheel to take over, and you may see me grab the wheel occasionally if it's getting close to a curb or near pedestrians or something unsafe, but I just hadn't had the urge. And I've been driving FSD a long time, so as long as it's been out, and I kind of know where it needs, you know, to be monitored closer than others. And these scenarios with what it's doing now, it's given me the comfort and the buffers that I feel like I need to not feel like I need to be on the edge. We'll see if that continues. Obviously, on the unprotected left, you see my foot's on the brake, my hand's on the wheel. I'm constantly touching the wheels there just because that's fraction of a second reaction time required to a mistake. But on these drives where you have a little bit of room, a little bit of space, it does feel like some of the videos I watched that the integration of the planner and what we're now feeling as FSD 12 here probably has a little bit to do why the highway stack isn't integrated yet. The planner and with the driving, if the planner can start to react the same way the driving does, wow, that's just probably going to feel amazing. There's a couple videos out there where you saw the planner going straight, but the car got into the left lane, you know, stuff like that. So you're like, well, why'd you get in the left lane? It's almost like the two brains weren't talking. Going around this circle here, nice speed, no traffic to deal with, so there's no real reason to worry about it, but it did it fine. Almost too slow, 11, something like that, but it had to go all the way around. No traffic here. It didn't wait on that car on the other side of the circle, so another smooth one. Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying not to use the same superlatives. I'm just really impressed with what perhaps these extra parameters have done to the model. I wish we had more insight into the model and what the general model for FSD is. That is obviously Tesla's secret sauce. You know, unlike Llama 3.1 going open source, you know, they're not going to open source the FSD model in my mind, because that is unbelievably the secret sauce of this magic. And even if they did open source it, I'm not so sure it could be implemented into something like OpenPilot, you know, with comma or anything else. I don't know, but it definitely has made a difference to get those extra parameters. So Elon said that hardware 4, which this car is, can do another 8x. So, you know, if you take the 5x and then 8x, that's a lot of x's on top of what we were running on version 12.4. And that doesn't mean we're going to get 8x and 12.6. That just means that they think they can do that on this hardware. I wonder if that 8x has anything to do with optimizations they think that are possible, meaning like the, what is going on here? Let me see. Okay. I'm sorry, I was a little confused by the map and this navigation in the full preview about what it was doing. That little turn looked a little sharp, sharper than it does in real life there. But, are they going to continue to expand this model, get all those parameters, retrain it on the same clean data sets? And do we need different data sets for different hardware? It sure does seem like they're waiting on Cybertruck for something. And I wonder if it's data sets. Do they need different data for hardware 3? Do they need different data for hardware 4? Does the additional camera resolution in the hardware 4 cars mean that they either got to dumb that resolution down to train hardware 3, or do they want to bifurcate it and split it out and say hardware 3 is going to train off of their cameras and hardware 4 is going to train off of its cameras, especially once the new data center is done in Austin. Obviously, they've said that training set on hardware 4 wouldn't happen until that data center was done. So here we are on a version that probably is still running in emulation mode, I guess, because that data center isn't up and running. But how did they get 4 or 5x the parameters? And what did they... So I don't really know how all that weaves in. I'm guessing that we're still training off of the Hardware 3 data set, I guess, because we don't have that new data center up and running. That would make the most sense to me. But it doesn't necessarily fit why we didn't get this version on Hardware 3 at the same time. But we can speculate all day long, but without the right information, it's nothing more than speculation unless somebody on X tells us how it's happening. But we have seen a lot of the Tesla leaders on X this version talking it up about 12.5, specifically Ashok. You know, I'm glad you're out there supporting your team and bragging about it, because this software deserves being bragged about. You guys did a really good job here. It was a little weird how you kind of cut bait and ran off at 12.4 without sending it to anybody and left a lot of people on 12.3 still. It kind of, I guess, just didn't get out as quickly as you thought, and 12.5 was ready, so perhaps you just jumped, and I'm kind of glad you did, because this software is amazing. Kind of makes me wonder, with the life cycles you guys are working on, and, you know, we knew 12.5 and 12.6 was out there a while ago. You know, could it have been smarter to cut 12.4 off 3 months ago, 4 months ago, and not even bother? I don't know. I guess it's, you never know till you drive it, how it's going to play out. I hope you guys start talking about 12.6, or man, we're just going to start talking about the point releases on 12.5. You know, I know in the release notes you're already talking about Cybertruck, you're talking about sunglasses and things like that. Those are big fixes for a point release. So maybe start teasing what 12.6 is going to have for us as compared to 12.5. That'll be exciting. Specifically, it's going to have more parameters. You know, if you're going to keep building the model out and growing it, Smart Summon, you know, Banish, all those other things, are those going to come in one of these builds, a major build, or are you going to flip those on in something like a holiday release? I don't know. Highway Stack, I guess, is another big important one. You know, it's probably going to be a point release here soon. All right, we have one more. Looks like it's, I don't know whether or not we're going to trigger the signal to give us a protected or an unprotected left here. We might have been here too late to get a protected, but we'll see what happens. I hope it's unprotected, because we got some stopped cars here and it'll have to kind of wait. But the longer we wait, the more likely we're going to get an arrow. Yep, we got our arrow. So it was, oh, why isn't it going? That was weird. It like paused, very unlike any other version, with a green arrow. It was waiting to see if one of those other cars was coming at us or something. Well, hey, I'm glad to be back. Really loving this new car. I didn't buy the car just for FSD. It was kind of a joke to Elon about needing to buy a car to get the new version. It's just the way it worked out. Glad to have it though, and I think that this is an amazing build, and I'm really glad to have, you know, a Hardware 4 car to try it on. I won't be able to test Hardware 3. My son's driving the Hardware 3 car, and he's in Pensacola, Florida right now in flight school, so he won't be doing any of that here in Jacksonville. We'll just have to see how that goes through other supervisors that have FSD hardware on Hardware 3. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll try to knock out an unprotected left turn video in the next day or so for you guys, just so we have documented. We'll see if I get a build 12.5.1. Thank you very much to the Tesla team for including this VIN number in the early access program so quickly. That was very, very appreciated and much appreciated. I appreciate all you guys do. Have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.